What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new locals deck profile. Here I am with my friend John, and he just went undefeated at our locals. Playing what deck, my good sir?
I'm playing pure PK, so none of that adventure nonsense, no scythe lock, just good honest end boards and a whole bunch of fog blades.
You got to be happy with that. That's pretty wholesome.
It's just some wholesome content.
Not opting to scythe lock anybody, letting them use their cards. You love to see that.
People ask me, why aren't you playing scythe? And I said, listen, like, I get to make my first turn board. The whole thing where they try to play through it, that's called a game.
Yeah.
I know we've forgotten it this format, but that's called a game.
Exactly.
And I want to have fun playing it, so.
Let's take a look at the list, baby.
All right, so starting off with the list here, this is pretty standard. With the PK engine, we got triple Torn Scales. This card's completely absurd. Just really, really solid, especially if you open like a trap in conjunction with it, you just play through Lancia every time. 2 Cloak. This card's kind of bricky, but it's needed for the grind game. It's also a pretty solid discard, so that's fine. Then the 1 Gloves. Again, this is pretty standard. If you already open your tour guide, you just send this so you can play through Nib really easily, because this, you want to send the Cloak as early as possible because it's just any PK card, right? It's a trap, it's anything you need.
Okay.
I think the only thing that might be a little bit different here are I only play 2 Boots. So this is more of a testing thing that I'm doing at the moment. I'm only playing 2 Boots and no Greaves. So the Greaves was more like a brick in my eyes because it was just so weak to open up most of the time. If you open up a bunch of PKs, Greaves is a good extender. But if you don't, it just kind of clogs your hand, and this deck already has enough strange 1-ofs. The 2 Boots is kind of the same idea, where you don't really want to open it in conjunction with your most powerful cards, right? So if you open Tour Guide, for example, Boots is just a brick. It doesn't really do anything unless you can make it all the way to Rusty and also not get nibbed, right?
Yeah.
So for now, I'm perfectly fine with the 2 Boots. The Greaves also comes up less because you don't need Greaves as an extender, so if you haven't opened Boots to start your combo, like most of the time. So I'll take the little bit of a ceiling deduction just for a little bit more consistency.
Gotcha.
So that's just the Phantom Knights. These are all the Phantom Knight monsters. Again, pretty standard except for the Boots and Greaves. Now to the actual best engine of the deck.
Yes.
3 Tour Guide.
Yes.
And of course the men to accompany her, Graph and Seal, and Seer. So this card's completely absurd. You just basically get to play through anything, right? Because all you need is one other extender, and you can just go full combo even if the tour guide gets stopped, unless it's something like Gamma, for example. And these cards, these BA cards, well, they can be a little bit clumsy to draw sometimes. Their push power through like Lancia and through Nibiru, it's just so strong. Like, people will Lancia me, and I'm still ending like Rusty Fogblade DPE with a Trap Engrave or with the Breakstone Engrave to summon back. It's just crazy. Like, these cards are bricky. This is the worst out of the 2, so Seer is the worst to draw. If you draw Graph, you can usually combo pretty easily where you put up Cherubini and Torn Scales and then discard the Graph off Torn Scales to get Seer in the loop. So Seer is the one that I consider an actual brick, you know, because it just makes your hands really weak.
Gotcha.
And then to protect it, 3 Kage.
Yes, sir. Turikage.
Because if you open Turikage, you just win the game.
You're in there like swimwear, baby.
Through any hand trap, doesn't matter. You have so much follow-up. Like, this card's absurd. Also, like, just normal summoning a Phantom Knight and then proccing Kage in hand, it just establishes so much board presence and just makes a lot of your extenders better. So I really like this. I really love this package. There's nothing I would change about it. I wish I saw it more tonight, honestly. Okay. 2 more extenders. This is pretty standard. Wielder Tracker. Each heli is completely nuts, and these cards aren't that bad to draw. They're solid to draw, right? You just summon them out of hand for free. And then you play the two bricks. Right now, I am playing the DPE stuff. DPE is incredibly strong, as I'm sure everyone is aware. You can just push through. You know, you get stopped by your opponent, or they put up a formidable board, and you just activate Fusion Destiny from hand, or just put 2 monsters in and make Anaconda. Yeah. And then they'll get you back into your engine and everything. It's just, it's so good. Please, you gotta hit that. Someone's gotta hit it. Like, yeah. It's too good.
Too strong.
So now, I do have 3 more monsters in the deck, but I'm going to save those for my going second cards, which will be at the end. For now, just going into the spells. 1 Rhoda, it's any PK, or it's Kage. So if you just open this plus Tour Guide, again, you simply win the game. 3 E-Telly. This card is really, really silly. I wish you were playing something more like a punk package so you get a little bit more mileage out of it. But honestly, the fact that you can just, the number of times I've just had Cherubini up and then activate this effect and people tried to Ogre it, and then you just chain the E-Telly from hand, and then you get to freely send the E-Telly to protect Cherubini from its own effect.
Very spicy.
It's so good. It's so solid. You also, to play around Nib, you just hold this in hand forever if you don't need it, and then if they Nib you, you just turn the token into Link Spider and then use this, and then you have Hysterical Snake into Hysterical Birdman. Like, it's just crazy.
Truly outplayed.
You've truly outskilled and outmaneuvered. 2 Fusion Destiny. A lot of people were cutting this to 1. If you open it, you'd simply win. It's just that simple, right? I've had instances where my Anaconda's been negated just to make sure it gets up, and then you just slam the other one on the table. It's so good. It's so strong. And if you already put up Appaloosa and you're free to just keep going, you can just activate it whenever. It's just free advantage. And then onto the traps. You play the 1 Brigandine. I still like this. I was actually strongly considering cutting it for a while, but just the fact it makes you so Nibiru proof because of the DPE stuff. The fact that you can just you would search Boots, and then Rusty said this if you want to be completely Nib proof. They Nib you, you activate this, and then you summon out Boots. So that's DP plus Fogblade, right?
Yeah,
so that's
even bad.
That's a lot, especially through Nib, right? Then they're down a card too.
Yeah.
3 Fogblade. I was also considering cutting this at one point. It is a little clumsy to draw, but in simplified game states, this card's completely nuts, right? In simplified game states, this card is both a negate, and it protects you from getting hit, and is also your engine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you Nibiru'd my Rusty, cool, banish Fogblade, bring it back, do the whole thing again next turn. It's just so strong. And for those of you who remember the Virtual World deck profile, we have 1 Shanwu, by which I mean Phantom Knight's Wing. This card still isn't as bad to draw as the Shanwu was. I do draw it a lot. But the nice thing is because the Torn Scales has that discard effect, if you just raw discard the trap, you just have so much gas. Like, they have to Lance you in awkward spots. Called by just doesn't work for when that came up in the tournament I played earlier. It's just, this card is just so... I wanted to cut it, and I really tried. I just think it's too strong. So just the 5 traps. I don't think you need any more. I do think you need the 1 extra trap to help get yourself out of some sticky situations, not just Fogblade, and for the grind.
Okay.
And then finally, my going second cards. Please keep in mind, if I were playing at a real event, so to speak, right, with all the nonsense running around, this would be completely different.
Just for locals?
But for locals, this is what I have built. The deck tends to get janked sometimes by random stuff, so I'm trying to prevent myself from that happening to me.
Gotcha.
So you play 3 Ash. Again, it's a catch-all hand trap. It's good for locals. If you have this in hand after you even end on anything, like let's say you end on DPE Fogblade Ash, still, it's just too much. Like, it's simply too much. And then you play 3 Droplet. Again, for a real event, this card has been getting less and less good. The nice thing about this card is that it's an extender. Like, realistically, going second is an extender because you can open some hands that are so clumsy because all the PKs, have to be normal summon to get out. And then you just do this and ditch a whole bunch of cards.
Yeah, just dump 3, negate the whole board, and then keep playing.
And then full combo, right? And then finally, this was a meta call for locals. So again, this would be completely different at a real event. DDD was really popular at locals. So was Invoke Shaddoll, Dogmatica, whatever.
Wind to Turbo.
Exactly. Same with Flunder. So I was maining the 3 Dark Ruler as well.
Dark Ruler and Droplet, interesting.
I was trying not to get janked by random floodgates, random monster floodgates, and assorted debauchery. So the 3 Dark Ruler is really good against DDD, which again is very prominent at our locals right now. It outs the Wind Barrier statue and the M-Pin, which again is a very popular deck, and it deals with Winda because that's a hard matchup. So I have 9 going second cards. This is a 40-card list, so 9 going second cards. I try to make it as minimal on the bricks as possible. I know people are playing this as the adventure build right now. I just don't think it's as good. The fact that you can't push through Lancia hurts. The fact that it does really kind of just become soulless like Turbo, not what I prefer.
Fair enough.
And again, just it helps to not get janked by random things because the adventure stuff is so versatile, but you're also adding so many more bricks to the deck, and also just look at the cost. Right? I could just, Tour Guides, I think a playset, I got mine for $10. And I'm
very
just pushing,
expensive.
pushing through everything, right? Whereas the adventure stuff's like $400 to just draw Griffin plus Draco back every game.
Yeah, I get it. Understandable. Extra deck now?
Extra deck, so the man, the myth, big chicken suit guy.
One of the best Sky Striker cards ever printed.
Okay, Mike. Relax.
This card, why?
Why?
Someone was in the lab at Konami, and they said, you know what? I don't think Dragoon was good enough.
Yeah.
And they said, Hank, those are paint thinners. Stay away from those.
Oh my goodness.
And then they printed this card. I look forward to seeing the day when it dies. I'm gonna miss winning for free.
Yeah.
But this card, it's really good in the deck because you can like mitigate your board state really well. It makes the follow-up completely absurd, right? If they out your entire board and aren't killing you, they lose instantly. Just because this plus Dasha Celestial plus your full PK engine engrave, you just win.
Yeah.
So card's completely insane. To enable it, you do play the 1 Link Spider. I don't like the Almirage. I like the extra deck utility, and I don't think you need the Almirage enough to justify its inclusion. This is just because Brigandine and also because of Nibiru tokens, right? So you could just make it whatever, just to make sure Anaconda sticks.
Yeah.
And then finally, the hysterical man himself.
The best Link 2.
Yes, the most legal and fair Link 2 that definitely shouldn't have been hit or anything. Pay 2,000.
Win for free.
Yeah, you win. It's that simple. My other Link 2s, obviously, Cherubini. This card is completely absurd. It protects itself. If you go second, you just build your entire board around him. So like negates and destroys, doesn't matter. You just build your entire. You get to pop with Break Sword for free because as long as it's pointing to him, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dan Tweed who taught me this deck, and when I was going second, he said you just build every turn going second around this card, and it just works so well. Sending his cost from deck, by the way. That's also a good idea. I am playing the 1 IP. This is definitely the flex spot in the extra. I would be playing Redoer probably, but I don't have Greaves anymore. So the IP, it comes up in weird game states. Its effect protection comes up in like back row matchups. If you know you're playing against back row, you just end on like IP plus Rusty with the pop engrave, so you summon back off Fogblade, and then you can like Unicorn, and then you have DP, so that's a pop 3, and I guess pop 2, shuffle 1. It's just too much, right? So the IP is solid. I'm still kind of looking for something else to put in this place, but for now she's fine. She's chilling.
Fair enough.
Boy, is this card also really silly. The Dark Charmer. So
how has this card been?
this card has been absurd. I haven't the fact that you can turn basically just one Dark Monster into a Rusty if they have anything in graveyard, right? A Dark Monster plus anything else becomes just a free Rusty. It's enabled Zeus off of it before. I've grabbed people's Dragoons back off of it before.
My God.
I've grabbed people's DPEs back and just never given them back.
My goodness.
So my boards have looked absurd where you have, Dragoon plus DPE or Winda DPE or DPE and also another DPE. So yeah, I love the card. I think it's really strong. It's also an immediate threat. They have to do something about this card if they have anything relevant in grave. For the Link 3s, the big man.
Yes.
He is. I remember I played PK Orchest at Nationals one year. This card was absurd then, and it is still absurd. In any simplified game state, doesn't matter if you're under Lancia, you just set up your full engine, set up follow-up, set up a negate, set up a pop potentially. Cards. I don't need to explain Rusty. Rusty's absurd. He's so good. Unicorn. I like the one Unicorn. Helps clear threats. Helps just go for game. Right. So you just go for game. Really easy. Using this into access code. Right. Big kill murder. They thought that Boral Sword wasn't strong enough apparently.
Yeah.
So
No.
Not remotely. So it's just in this deck, access code isn't actually as good as other decks because, as you guys can maybe tell, I don't have that many non-dark links in my deck.
Yep.
But the fact that it's just one pop and then it's huge is usually enough. I use this banishing itself down to skill drain today too. Like it's
That's nice.
it's a really solid card. Yeah. And then the Appaloosa. So this card just makes sure that DPE gets through and protects your whole end board. This card can win games off of herself, right? She's just such a threat that people have to deal with. It's one of, as you guys can tell by the mat, one of my favorite cards. I love Appaloosa.
Beautiful card.
So then for the Xyz monsters, you have Levier. This guy just gets, usually he gets your cloak, sometimes he gets gloves back in rotation. So he's just a free stepping stone to put more follow-up back in grave. That's my favorite thing about this deck is how strong its follow-up is. You play 2 Break Sword. This card's really nuts. It's really, really dumb. So if you've just committed to, I'm going to only do Dark Monsters this turn, neither of his effects are once per turn. So you can just destroy itself, pop something on the field, bring back 2, and then if you're able to get to another one, which you usually are, do it again, and then you have access code is approaching, right?
Yep.
This card by itself is just DPE too, going second because it's just 2 free dark bodies, and you don't care about being dark blocked.
Yeah.
The card's insane. It's so good. It's also a floating Zeus engrave because you play this, So I just play this. Again, it turns this into a floating Zeus, and it also just, if you just need to summon this into a board because he's pretty big, it just free Zeus, double send. And then the last one, the aforementioned. Card's still silly. I didn't really make it that much today. Card's really silly. It's a really good like backup plan, especially because there's a lot of DDD here. So just solid backup plan.
Gotcha.
So that's my extra deck. The only thing I would really change is, say, the IP, for example. I don't know what I would change it for, so for now, she's fine where she is.
And then the side deck?
Yep, so finally, the side deck. I play the... this is where my hand traps are for those matchups where, hand traps are better than board breakers. So you have 3 Nib. Card stupid.
Yeah.
Really bad card design.
True.
If you side this in going first and even put up anything, like the fact that my entire board can come back from the grave, you just side 3 of this in going first, and then if you open anything competent, like Fog Blade plus DP, it's an FTK. Because they have to play super weird to out your board, and then you just nib them, and then you win, because everything floats.
Okay.
So I love this card. This card is so strong. I didn't side into much today, but I do have 3 Lancia. Card's really good. It helps me invoke, helps me plunder, helps me Nibiru, obviously. So that's fine. Lancia's, it's fine. I'm not carried by it as much as I used to be, but
no.
It's a little bit less good this format.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the one Ogre. Again, I would be playing more Ogre if this were a real event, but this is just the locals. I like to be able to side this in if decks are putting up Griffin, if decks are putting up Appaloosa. If decks are putting up DD plus Ex Machina, you can just detaliate out, and it's a free going second card, right? So you just put it up, out anything.
Yeah.
It's solid. I liked it today. So next we have the spells. So you have the 1 heart piece. This deck doesn't like back row too much. I have some problems with back row sometimes. So you just have the 1 heart piece, and then the 3 twin. I would be playing Cosmic if I went to a real event, but again, the fact that twin discards makes it essentially an extender.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, just it clears more than Cosmic, and I just like being able to do that. And then the traps. I don't like back row decks.
Card's amazing.
I don't think I've driven it home. I don't like back row
I
decks.
drew this card twice today against Eldritch. It was so good.
It feels so good.
Feels so
you
good,
just slam
baby.
it on the table. It's like, I'm going to play now, and you're not going to stop.
Better have the judgment you lose.
Exactly. And then finally, shout-outs to the winner kills for the spikes. These were anti-spells before. Terrible mistake. Judgments are crazy.
Yes, card
is
bonkers.
absurd. You can side it in for free against back row decks. You can side it in to beat evenly, which this deck can sometimes have a hard time with. Sometimes I side Lancia going first if it's decent in the matchup just to beat evenly. Judgment's cracked. It's insane. If you open it and then can get to full combo, it is literally an FTK. Your opponent is not breaking it.
Yep.
I did get double Dark Ruler today through it, which was funny, but I had the Nibiru in hand going first, so there was nothing you could do at that point.
Love to see that, baby.
But yeah, that's going to be the whole deck there.
15, 15, and 40 in the main?
Yep, nice and clean. I see my bricks a fair amount, but I also see my crazy cards a fair amount, so that's fine with me.
Fair enough. What were your matchups really quickly, if you remember?
So my matchups today, I started with Danger. Yeah, shout out to Nicole. I started with Danger. Unfortunately, Fog Blade is really tough in that matchup because they can't attack. So, she's trying to OTK me, and I just Fog Blade one of my own things, and then not a whole lot you can do.
Yep.
My round 2 was against Eldritch. That was on feature. I just went first. And then game 2, I opened Twin Ash.
Ooh.
And then that's all she wrote.
Yeah, Ash is enough, baby.
My round 3 was against Dino Dragoon.
Okay.
Because I knew what he was on, because he was the same gentleman that Mystic Mind Dark Ruler no more made. So I still bore a grudge for that. So I made him go first. He Dragoon passed, so I killed him.
Yes, the revenge.
And then game 2, it's because I hard opened Fusion Destiny both games.
Ooh,
so he stopped
so
everything
good.
I had, and then I just activated Fusion Destiny and won both games 1 and 2.
Very nice.
And then finally, against my good friend Partho, shout out to Partho, I
Shout
played
out to
DDD
Partho.
in the finals, or in the last round. He opened really strange. He just bricked a little bit. Game 2, I opened really weak as well, so we just kind of opened weak, but I won die roll, so I ended up... Oh, no, he won die roll, but I ended up getting it all the same.
Nice.
I'm ready for that deck because I main the Dark with the Droplet, so I have a lot of hate against the DDD. Plus, Zeus just kind of usually spells
Oh
the
my
end.
god, Zeus is insane.
They're so good against that deck.
Send literally every card they own.
Exactly.
All right, well, congratulations on going 4-0.
Yep.
Appreciate the profile.
Thank you so much for the profile. I
No
appreciate
problem, man.
it.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we're signing out. We'll see you guys
Go
in the next one.
subscribe, like, comment, subscribe.
All right, thank you. And like always, a big thank you goes to our Divine Level channel members who are Tweeter0226, Ponystart, Cadillacs84, Keith Sidgers, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind support of this channel.